It's cold today. Like, I'm wearing a blazer, and I don't think this is going to be good enough. And I almost put on my leather coat. Then I took it off. Should have kept that baby on. Anyway, I'm waiting on my train to go into the World Trade Center. And today, I'm still working on the one case that I've been working on all week. Apparently, no one in my office has done a case like this in the court that I'm bringing it in. And I'm asking for relief in so many ways for the client that I have to take it to a certain court. And it requires so many papers and a memo of law. And since no one else has drafted anything like this before from our office, I'm having to do and double check and triple check all of my own research and all of that before it goes to our litigation director for a final review, before I can get to the client to have the client sign the papers so that I can file the case in court. So there's a lot of steps involved, and just sitting with it for the past 3-4 days, I'm tired of it already. Not that I'm not invested in it, but I'm ready to move on to the next thing. So I don't want to spend time recording in the office today because you guys have seen my office and you now see the train. If this is your first time on this channel, this is the New Jersey train that goes into Lower Manhattan. It's the PATH train. Okay. So today has been an emotionally difficult day for me because it's my cousin's birthday. She passed away on just a few days before I gave birth to my son. She was actually memorialized, like they had a funeral for her on the day he was born. And I couldn't travel because I was so heavy and pregnant that I couldn't travel down to Florida. And so there's a lot of pain I feel in that I didn't have a chance to mourn because I was trying not to have high blood pressure during my last week or two of my pregnancy. And so, to make a long story short, my cousin died as a result of an abusive relationship coupled with self-medication or self-medicating with drugs for her psychiatric issues. We don't get to choose who our family members are. We don't have control over that. Shamika was a person who lived a very rough life for so many reasons. And it's so painful that her life ended the way that it did because she deserves so much more than that. We all deserve the opportunity to live a full life. Before she was able to make decisions for herself, so many parts of her life were already fixed up in such a way that it was difficult for her. And she was involved in a very, very, very bad car accident where she had a traumatic brain injury. And she never, I don't believe, fully adjusted to having a life with all the supports in place to help her manage her traumatic brain injury. And as a result of that, I believe that she had some mental health issues coupled with the fact that she was trying to self-medicate with hard illegal drug use. So when you use street drugs to medicate psychiatric issues, it's an absolute recipe for disaster. And so she was involved with a person who literally ran her out into the street, allegedly. She was hit by an oncoming truck and left for dead. Our family didn't know that she had passed away immediately. And it's just one awful story, real tragic story. And my cousin and I were raised as sisters. Our grandmother had 5 daughters, and those daughters had children all in the same time frame. Within the span of a year, there were 5 girls, and Shamika was the 5th born out of the 5, and I was the 4th. So even though in my family a lot of people regard and treat me like I'm older, I'm really young, one of the younger of the girls in the family who were in that particular cohort. And so I feel like I lost a sister and I didn't have a chance to mourn. One thing I do know is that she died a saved person, and she knew that anyone and everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. And I know she died a saved person. I know that she had gone to church the week before, and she was crying with the pastor and saying that she was tired. And maybe this awful thing that we know that happened to her was just her time. She was only 34. She would have been 35 today. She was never married, never had any children, just lived a very hard life. And I miss her. And I'm so sad that what happened to her actually happened to her. One thing I've never really talked about on this channel is that in addition to being a lawyer, I have a master's in social work. I'm a licensed social worker. And all of my clients here at my office have a psychiatric illness. And a lot of the things that happen in their life is kind of self-inflicted in some ways, if you want to say it that way. And I don't truly believe that. I believe as a result of limitations, whether it's physical or psychiatric or just their upbringing. A lot of folks struggle with making the right decisions for themselves. They have some trouble articulating what their needs are and knowing how to go after them, go after what they need, or even trying to figure out what they need. And for a lot of the clients I help, it's more about trying to help them preserve rights and have their rights acknowledged. And so I just want to say and keep it short today that if you are a person who suffers from mental illness, you're not alone, and that help is available to you no matter where you live. There are so many hotlines, especially when it comes to abusive relationships. There are many hotlines available for people to use. If you ever called any legal service provider and they're aware that you have a history of domestic violence in your house, there are different ways that you could go about getting the legal services you need that wouldn't necessarily expose what's happening to you. If you live in New York and you are a person who has been a victim of domestic violence or abuse, I would encourage you to contact Safe Horizon, which is a domestic violence organization, or an organization that focuses on domestic violence. They also have a hotline. Let me pull it up here. It's 1-800-621-HOPE. Safe Horizon Domestic Violence Crisis Hotline is 1-800-621-HOPE. And for all the Shamikas out there who are struggling to find their way, you have an advocate in me. I am a person who's dedicated their life and profession to being an advocate of change and a voice in the courts for your benefit. it doesn't matter what you've done or where you've been or what you did or did not do to contribute to a certain situation. If you were to reach out to me for resources, I can try to get you on the right track, at least if you're not in New York. So again, just know that you have an advocate here. This place is a safe place. This YouTube channel is a safe place to talk about domestic violence. It's a safe place to talk about mental health. It's a safe place to talk about rights of women and people who are in romantic relationships. And I'm going to keep it short because this video is in memory of Shamika. We love you. We miss you. We thank God for the time we had with you. And I can't wait to see you again. That's Vlogtober, day number 3.